Hello, species value nature system. So we're gonna have to have enough. I'm gonna have to give a website idea to be owned for valued for to play with by the Burroughs book. Also, it's for the same thing. Play where it is. It just feels like game. Positive, also positive relationship to the identity of their existence. Simultaneously has a simultaneous, distinct and non-distinct relationship to itself as three natures of volume, distinctly the same exact way, same exact value progression, nature of value to itself, simultaneously, non-distinctly. See, this is where time, they're missing how there's three volumes of forever nature. An inherent volume, an active volume as a quality of diffusion, life, positive or negative, each second, per another system though, unto itself. Before then as the value of to and as the order of all finite, simultaneously with and as the radical correlation. This criminal insidiousness nature obfuscated as the value of each modern nation's agencies, only let realized and interbranch, only let realized in collusion with other nations, suit entire nations, counters to it that don't understand it too, because every nation was distinctly and non-distinctly areas, states, and nations, scientists tactically, criminally re-engineered, fit to roles, within as identities of values, progress in this negative value nature progressing, inherently active and progressively having the value, pseudo-positive unity, pseudo-positive fact treatment nature justifications, indifferences, blaming on other and others on themselves, the real cause of negative value nature progression, which is the value of the campus Marcius of internation sciences revealed by nature of internation sciences before they were criminally re-engineered. So it was his value that was his since some ancient times kept tactically incapable of defending its own roles with a criminally re-engineered value nature system that is humanity's, dependent upon the value revealed, manifest, not just invented, revealed, manifest as the value of the republic for which we stand, ancient republic. Now all the different broken forms. The ancients understood that we are the range of positive that we can control, and we can't, because the perfect value of progression is reliant upon us seeing. That is relying upon the energy to know and to progress positive value nature here, temporary positive, as more of that made, or to progress seeing it and letting it go as energy and as causes to the energy of Lethe of Hades, force-based nature transfer. So nuclear weapons are feeding the expansion of the universe, not nuclear technology. Peaceful in relationship to contrast, not in relationship to correlation nature. It's natures of wealth, of business, of interaction, of fact, treatment, nature, justification. You can't defend that and us at the same time. You can't defend that you're moral and us at the same time. But those defenses anyways are relied upon by states and areas in collusion, rely upon top-down, force maintain, pseudo-positives. So we come to the fact treatment nature role that puts slavery, because we're not going to leave it, because that wasn't just a color, it was this fact treatment nature slavery of our founders simultaneously. And that's why we don't admit that, so we don't have the reliefs, because we have a fact treatment nature that's comparison nature. And so it's going to be blaming other and others themselves for what is pseudoscience, is not letting correlation admit that there is forsaken non-reliefs, fake free speech, and crime methods recorded still originally and still maintaining branches to collusion with them. They're here maintaining consciously maintaining knaves' relationships to the trade center. Each nation there has a fake side, including us. And for example, through criminal justice on and off campuses, originally in state uncharged, Internation Sciences Campus Marcia is criminally re-engineered. And to stay investing people to all kinds of fake sides, sabotaging correlation nature, in other words, it's ratiocination means, in a pseudo-ratiocination, and pretending that others are that, needing to prevent mandated law from being followed, needing to be people's voices discredited with fake news, multi-front, to cover lie progressions from what was his keeping interbranch actors originally instated in collusion, which is a method which is the first time I ever knew where Debbie Gold lived was in like middle school, and that was Joe Dennis, recorded victim. Well, he doesn't understand, but then so they keep everyone victim predators because they evolve with time, with other people's sensibilities all maintained for a fact treatment, completely a fact treatment breaching method. That engine knew that it could engineer rules. Space maintained victim predator laws, even their stewards, the scientists, criminally re-engineered, not understanding. But invested victim predator laws to the defense of fact privacy treatments of expert lean, way worse than using it way worse than mission creeps cause. This is what built all modern nations into a semi-ancient trap that had already and was planned. How they knew that if we criminally re-engineer the nature's bond in value by the Campus Marcius revealed before criminal internation persuasions. See, these are criminal internation persuasions that they knew that they could keep each modern nation, each position of fact treatment nature, incapable of countering and of defending their fact treatment nature roles to all areas. So this used forced slavery of our founders with zoning laws. If anyone talked about anything else, they were slaves. That's it. They're them and themselves, their families abused. Per what was internation, also simultaneously forcing England extorted there as a fake face here. Their motivations were that and how each area and state was in collusion with what they didn't understand. Everyone's blaming others, not themselves, and that was consciously realized with no one realizing, because everyone only experienced everyone blaming others, because they knew since semi-ancient times, even defenses of what is trained and stuff like that, they're going to need to have their actually recorded natures from correlation nature. They're going to have to, which is a trinity, which is simultaneously finite value, active value, and progressions value, which is proof of a bond as what causes positive or negative value nature progressions. Well, which we'll see. Science. I'm an expert on the nature of English grammar. My degree, I have just a bachelor's degree, double major in English and communications, but I'm an expert on the nature of English grammar, and I'm going to show you how we're going to heal it. Because the sciences share an identity, and it is recorded that the Old Testament and that the Quran and that all modern religions are about criminally re-engineered sciences that came before modern religion. And that was, when you criminally re-engineer sciences and maintain them that way, It's to criminally re-engineer human fact treatment nature, human premise treatment nature, active body of value nature, progression value nature treatment simultaneously. Justifications of that. Physical delusions with that. Indifference with that. Hurt with that. Tactical. To blame on others. Since ancient times, mind. So what we need, here's the first website. And this is for the branches too. We should share this one with the branches. Because we want to share it with the Native Americans, but we can share more than there's so many for them we need to share. To gain them. We gain them one at a time for after. We need one Native American to be real. So you don't even have to be 100%. As long as we can prove the real Native American and we stay real onto nature's identities, also positive relationship to itself. Is that these systems with concrete streets? No. Is that correlation that's allowed to speak for that since founding? No. Is that capable of speaking for our founders? No. Does it speak for it? Yes. Does it speak for it right? No. Does it do it passionately? Yes. Does it do it passionately honestly? No. Is that used by a breaching organized crime method? Yes. Who denies this? See, they can't do it on paper, so they need to slander people through time ahead of time. And who's growing towards correlation, who has the means from experience in life, not per the systems, like undercover and stuff like that. They are used originally and still juxtaposed internation share of overt criminal enterprises and unrealized. This is recorded. See, but we have experts of litigation that are knowledge predators against correlation nature, against sequence nature, true. Also with the Ninth Circuit, proven sequence shift that led to a 2006 case that was ongoing at the time of my father's death, with former director of the FBI, former standing chairperson of RICO law, organized crime law, Robert Luskin. See, that 2006 case, part of the case, came after my father proved that they had sequence shifted from inside the court, where he had on-time delivered papers and had them time-stamped in the court of the Ninth Circuit, and then came back to from Manhattan. And then we were in the Manhattan context right before the Trade Center. And someone had time-stamped them again and made it look time-stamped late from inside the court. So they ruled that it was, filed late. But then, see, the other recorded known federal criminals and unrealized facilitated federal criminals, including ones unrealized from my town who were police families and stuff like that, who also have recorded crime rolls with internation, police forms, families, and overt criminal enterprises there and here, maintained through what is on and off campuses shared, with on and off campuses policing shared, like psychology shared, with criminal justice, with like training of jails and stuff like that, also tied to their interactions and roles with military and with military police and stuff like that, tied to as positive, but only as pseudo-positive, only in relationship to the contracts wars that wouldn't be if they were with integrity here, but which they are not. So they're stealing other people's integrity. Tied to a body dumping spot near where used to be a title house, recorded and confessed by people when I was growing up, where they had people making confessions as strangers who know my name from other people, but I don't know their name. And as means that is recorded, used to pretend people knew each other like they didn't at all, but pretending other in databases, a nature of identity crime, well, and uses of it, confessed and recorded by campuses through time connected, and how connected, and then how connected with on-off campus, hid, known for known reasons, like with tied to the Justin Kavinskis, recorded and confessed his wife and him involved with medical corruption and database illusion corruption and drug crimes with intercampuses and with that used as crime rolls in cases and tied to people with body dumping spots tied to the like near that Tuttle House place we used to be where the serial killer's body dumping spot was. And this is with them recorded and confessed with crime rolls of different natures of crime, but juxtaposed with and as crimes with evidence reception bodies tied to his wife's business near the and their rolls with the buildings right before the body dumping spot of the serial killer. Only 2 times, real quick, his wife, Lucinda, 3 times. 2 times verbally and once non-verbally. His wife, I was ever in her presence real quick. She non-verbally and verbally confirmed roles with database illusion stacks, all these natures of crimes with her husband, a fake. His father was part of the military police. This is a KKK themed. Also, I don't know who is the same person, but it's recorded with language and stuff tied to people criminally involved with them with cases through time and with database illusion stacking. Also with sports teams and stuff like that, per especially per roles with a Hagen bar. I don't know. I never had a conversation. Well, he made statements to me. The only conversation I asked him one time when I was a freshman. I said, I'm not going to come to practice today, because I wasn't even wanting to go on the team. I was just trying to figure out stuff because people were making confessions tied to it. But they were like, they don't purposely not to make sense, because they're playing fact cheat in nature. With they're maintaining the wrong outcomes through time in cases with the courts as victims, but as victim predators. Unfathomable. Even kings missed this. See, this was his criminally re-engineered campus martial of a value of a nature relationship to itself as value that was revealed before criminally influenced human fact treatment nature. So they have fake Facebook pages pretending to be me through time. They have fake YouTube pages pretending to be me through time. Every time if you try to go in to report this stuff, they put fake conversations and they switch names. And they cover up other crimes and lies they had doing that and with roles with cases with that. They switch names, interbranch, forge names, interbranch collusion. Then they switch names because then what happens is you can't speak. It makes and then they pretend you can't speak clearly. And then they make you have to have conversations with strangers that they're telling you to ignore because it's part of, for example, part of their recorded sexual harassment, and then blaming the victims for harassment for trying to counter confessed and recorded sex offenders proven with the schools, first hid, recorded, and further recorded and confessed though with the schools and with doctors, especially relationship to this, tied to the roles with forensics and stuff like that. Each treatments of each job, whereas how each job was built to maintain each position in nature of fact treatment nature as a lie progression cover-up nature, needing to hide that from correlation and needing to be a correlation, lie progression cover-up nature that they engineered into an edifice of roles with color and with slavery laws against everyone, tactically then and now maintained, not let understood through criminal foreign influences maintained. Fake patriotism fronts, all positions, victim predators. This is what religions are about. See, a quality of fact cheap nature relationship that causes criminal insidious in its nature, which is the nature of the relationship that the identity of existence of space has unto itself simultaneously, distinctly and non-distinctly. Real quick, science demonstrates that there's 3 natures of volume. There's an inherent nature of volume or forever nature, as this one identity of nature, value progression, It is simultaneously an active that has a quality of diffusion coming through bonded earth as a simultaneous value before then as the value of all finite, before all negative value nature is the value of the bond. What's that goes? And that's simultaneously, so that's simultaneously positive and negative value nature in relationship to earth, immediate space nature value, in relationship to the simultaneously distinct and non-distinct relationship that space has, not just onto physics, but onto the identity of value was before physics, inherent nature of value. As physics, it has metaphysics juxtaposed as an active nature, a volume of its complete identity, and as that more of that made as value here, more positive value nature made here, or more negative value nature pushed away, and for the development of positive value nature's perfect evolution somewhere else, and with a little bit more and more of the semi-nature of the complete nature, a little bit more semi-nature of the complete nature coming into and as the gaining value of Earth's consciousness. Even once we're gone, we are forged as negative or positive or negative value nature in relationship to a system by our fact treatment nature in as value that is tactically ulterior from these ones we are tactically forced to, that are tactically ulterior from tactically denatured relationship to nature as means. That's why we are being told to hunger, to understand this course, always, inherent, actively, and progressively, as progression's value and demonstration to us. But we have each of the sciences criminally re-engineered since some age times to maintain defenses of pseudo-positives. This is why people get violent, people who pretend to be against poverty. If you try to use correlation to show how pseudosciences were simultaneously against suburbs and urban areas, distinctly and non-distinctly. And whereas it's harder physically on the urban areas, it's harder, that causes the same body of value which we are together in positions with forced quality of fact treatment nature ignored for different reasons. It becomes harder to deal with reality different ways over here. In other words, and we're in the same, we can walk to each other's houses. You know what I'm saying? But we have systems maintained, roles with off the records, fact treatment wise. They say, oh yeah, everyone's gonna say, oh yeah, we know that because they're trained to keep undercover in all the forms, foreign and domestic here. Pretend it's just natural people. You know what I mean? But it's not just like that. Because it's recorded not, and it's recorded not letting mandated law. So if you try to tell anyone of any colors, try to tell on what demonstrates this by reporting crime acts and roles with natures of crime and of criminals with them that are recorded sticking their needs for lies and illusions blamed on other causes, themselves blamed as that, instead of what they really are, which is a breaching organized crime method in each nation, maintaining it and needing each nation in each position of fact treatment nature to see difference, to see contrast consciously, because they have criminal needs per agenda to cover lie progressions cover up nature's needs. In other words, you have to cover up your premises, You have to cover up your nature with your convictions. If I say to you, there's people stacking, there's criminally foreign influenced zoning laws, there's mistreatments of our founders, fact-cheating nature, slavery, and someone starts fighting with me, you know what I mean? Or whoever would say that, which is recorded, whoever would say that, people will start fighting with them. This is tied to a identity crime method where we have policing of schools per other natures of crime engineered, needing to cover up lie progressions from the past cases already that were before our time and since. And with all that, it was his manifest in relationship to, which was his per the method that knew that if they built these roles, it would be within as built, self-maintained, lie progression, cover up nature, database illusion stack in nature,